We're going to talk about some cam and lifter stuff today. Again, this is a Gen 4. So this is the same, when I say Gen 4, Generation 4, big block Chevy. And then the Gen 5 was when they went to, GM had like the 502s, and they went to the one-piece rear main seal. So basically anything that's Gen 4 is, or Generation 4, is a two-piece rear main seal. But with that, I wanted to make a video about the lifters again. So there's a few things going on here. First of all, from all of these, and again, this is a huge, it's an old Pro stock motor. So huge RPM out of this thing and huge valve spring pressure. So a lot of questions about why did the lifters fail or why are they starting to fail? So to recap, some of these wheels, that one's smooth. And that one's smooth. Well, it's a little noisy, but some of them are like noticeably rough. Like the bearing in the roller is flat and they're rough. But it's only 4 lifters, not 4 pairs of lifters. It's 4 lifters total out of the whole mess that are rough, and the rest are still smooth. So we have a few things going on here. One of which is, because this is a Generation 4 big block, the cam tunnel is stock journal size, stock bearings. So it's not the oversized, when they started going to the 55 and 60 millimeter. And now they have these gargantuan diameter camshafts. They have these really weird looking lobes. And anyway, they're way more reliable. Now they're getting over 1 inch of lift out of the cams or at the valve. But one of the things that happens, so this has got a Jessel belt drive, and the Jessel belt right here, when you're running this engine and you rev it up, you can actually see the belt walk back on the cam. It's noticeable. The belt will actually change position on the cam pulley. And the reason it's doing that is because the spring pressure, the valve spring pressure is pushing down so hard on the lifter that it's bending the cam. So there's cam deflection going on. And again, that's why the larger diameter cams came into play, because you lose that cam deflection. The cam is a lot more rigid. So a few things are happening there with the cam deflection. That's totally screwing your valve lash when the engine's running, especially at high RPM. And we're talking like 400 plus pounds on the seat for spring pressure and over 1,200 pounds open. So there's a lot of force on the cam. So you got cam deflection going on, which that's going to screw your valve lash. And so, who knows what the lifter is doing, what the lash really is at RPM, but it's getting beat on pretty hard, is my point. Even if you lash the valves tight, you're still not going to be able to do anything about the cam deflecting or bending because of the spring pressure. And so here's a couple of cams to give you an idea. So this was just running a conventional headed big block. It's one I've had for a number of years. And the spring pressures aren't near what they are, for this type of cylinder head and the high RPM that thing runs. This cam right here was in this engine for one race. And I don't know if you can see, do you see the line? You can see where the lifter wheel actually left an indentation in the cam. There's so much spring pressure that this is like, I don't know, there might be 10 passes on this cam, and you can see that the lifter wheel is actually starting to leave an impression in the cam lobe, where you don't have that on this cam. So the reason these needle bearing lifters don't last very long, a rebuild on this engine is usually rods and lifters and a few other things, but those are, and valve springs probably, but that's the main thing. The lifters are only going to go, I don't know, 45, maybe 50 passes. And that's if you don't do something stupid like break a valve spring and then float the valve, and then the lifter gets beat on like a hammer because it, floated off the cam lobe and then got slammed when the cam lobe came back around. And so these are Chet Herbert, in case anyone to answer a bunch of questions. Whose are they? I used to live near there, and I had Donnie that worked for Herbert Cams on speed dial. I used to call him up on his personal cell phone and tell him what I wanted, and he would grind the cam and have it in the mail for me the next day. But these are solid roller lifters from Herbert Cams. So Chet Herbert's the dad, by the way. Doug Herbert is the son. He's the Top Fuel drag racer. Chet was his dad, and that's where these lifters came from. And they've been, honestly, as good as any that I've ever used. But again, this is from probably 20 plus years ago on these lifters. So who knows who's making them now? I've been out of it for so long. A lot of you commenters have given me some good leads on who's actually making some decent quality parts, because I'm going to go with the bushed lifters this time, and hopefully those things are going to hold on longer than these ones do. But again, you can't put any fault or blame on these guys. They lasted as good as any I've ever tried, and so they're just at the end of their life, and it's time to replace them.